Разговараме со Флоран Марсиак, експерт за политиката на проширување на ЕУ. Mr. Marsiak, what will be the regional implications of not having a date for start of negotiations with North Macedonia and Albania?
Well, let's be honest, it's been a very big disappointment. So in North Macedonia, in Albania, and in the whole region. So that's the accession negotiations have not been opened. But it's not been a complete surprise, despite all the expectations. Signals were there, so last year already, that there's some uncertainties on the side of the EU. And I would say, let's be even more honest, we've been calling for, so we experts and civil society organizations, we've been calling for reforming the accession process for quite a long time. Now it is very much a signal which is not very positive for North Macedonia, who has been passing the Prespa agreement, who has been making a lot of efforts, that in the end it's not rewarded. But my point is that the methodology the EU used, so in the past 15 years, has not been well known for delivering exactly the way it was supposed to deliver. Opening accession negotiations with North Macedonia should have been done many years before. So we had an issue with the accession methodology. That is not a surprise. I would say that this decision not to open accession negotiations is the cold shower which makes us realize that there is something wrong going on with the methodology of the EU, and then we need to change it. So that would be the key message.
Does the new methodology of negotiations proposed by France through its non-paper to the member states increases the risk of accession talks going on for decades and getting into so-called Turkish scenario?
With France non-paper, I remember 2 years ago, we had a country which was not interested in the Western Balkans. So it was avoiding debates on enlargement. It was very much focusing on the deepening of the European Union. So it was not a taboo, but something not very wished to open this question of enlargement. And France is these days, this is an important country in terms of thinking about the future of Europe. So in comparison with 2 years, what we have now with a non-paper by France is a country which is very much actively engaged in these discussions, which has taken this item of enlargement and accession methodology again so high on its priorities. It is a positive change, I would say, regardless of the contents. It's better to have actors getting interested, even if they are blocking or they are steering or slowing down the process apparently, than having a country that is just absent. So I would say it's a good thing to have more enlargements and the reform of the election process higher on the agenda. As for the contents of the paper, I would hope that this is just a contribution to a debate, which we still have to lead. The paper itself is not offering satisfactory tools to deal with existing problems in the past reform. The paper itself is not based on an analysis of what went wrong. So it offers new tools or less new tools. We need to go a little bit further. And to go further, I would say that we need to involve the Western Balkan countries, the governments, and also the civil society organizations in shaping this reform of the accession process. This is how we will try to remedy what did not work so far with the past methodology. The paper otherwise risks just replicating in other forms the same methodology we had, a little bit more segmentation here, a little bit less segmentation here, more front-loading here, so making some kind of new recipe with elements which we know are not enough in boosting the transformation of the region. So I would argue that it is a first contribution. Now it is up to the countries of the region to very much make a point that they should be involved in designing and shaping the methodology of accession.
What is France actually afraid of by enlargement process?
France has never very much supported the enlargement of, previous enlargement of the European Union. It's always been a little bit reluctant to do so, for different reasons, maybe except for Greece to some level, but it's never been a keen supporter of enlargement. France is very much concerned that enlargement, if you enlarge the European Union, you dilute the potential for deepening of the European Union. And France is a little bit nostalgic of this very strong, deeply politically economic, so integrated union. So this is what France is afraid in terms of vision for the European Union. It doesn't mean that the French are right with that. We need to put that in perspective to explain that the widening of the European Union is not antagonistic with the deepening of the European Union, and that so instead, actually, many steps in the past which have led to the widening of the Union have also had as a consequence to strengthen the deepening of the Union. So the widening creates imbalances, systemic imbalances, and the response to that is the deepening of the European Union. So the challenge now, if we want to address the fears or the concerns by France, is to look at what can the Western Balkans bring to the European projects through enlargement, through the accession in the EU. What can they bring which would help the EU to get stronger, to deepen its integration? So what kind of imbalance can it create in the European family for which the answer will be the deepening of the European Union? And I think this is how to engage with these debates, which is a bigger debate and a bigger engagement than just pushing for enlargements. It's very much participating in these very big debates. The Conference on the Future of Europe, for instance, again, involvement of the Western Balkans should be there, so participating in these debates.
Regarding the region, what is your opinion about fight against corruption in North Macedonia?
The fight against corruption. Well, what I noticed, this is a very complicated process. It is an extremely complicated process where we've been, so not only in North Macedonia, but throughout the region. The EU has tried to support actors and anti-corruption plans. What we see is that people do not have much trust in these plans. I mean, in the region, 70% of the people believe that anti-corruption policies are ineffective, and 75% of the people in the region believe that the administration, the political parties, the customs, the police, the judiciary are also corrupt. It is unfortunately a state of things, of affairs, where we have not had the influence, or the EU has not had the influence it wished to have. And here I come back to the methodology we used. I wonder if the stricter approach, which is also part of the French methodology, and which is also very much put to the forefront by Germany and the Netherlands, if the stricter approach is the panacea for everything. The idea that the countries of the region will only be able to join the European Union when corruption has disappeared somehow, that they have become very, very good, so golden members. It fuels a misconception that once you get in the EU club, you're perfect. And so you need to prepare to get to accession by fighting corruption, by strengthening rule of law, and then it will be fine. The problem is that we see that accession and membership is just one step. After that, there are a lot of challenges, including in corruption, in the rule of law or human rights, which do not disappear. So I cannot give you an answer of what to do, but I would say we need to think about transformation, not just for the scope of accession, but beyond. So how to prepare the countries of the region, and how can the countries of the region prepare not only for accession or being members, but for post-accession challenges, which will come. And here, this is a very complex questioning, where the ideas, I believe, should come much more from the grounds. The patterns coming from the EU, I'm not sure how effective they have been when you look at the 20 past years. So it is in my view, if we're looking for recipes, what should be working in terms of reform of the accession process, we should try to look for recipes together, like Western Balkans and EU, and not so hoping that the EU will provide a recipe for that. So in the conception of the recipe, how to fight corruption and so on, much more input and much more vision should emerge from the region here. That would be my encouragement for that.